What is up, everybody? Welcome to Puck Rock Rangers, episode 9. I'm Stefan. This is Palmer, and let's talk some hockey.
All right, lots going on this week. We are on Instagram live streaming, so thanks if you're checking us out there. The whole video will be up on the YouTube later. Let's start with some intros, man. What's going on, Stefan? What you got going on in your world? I want to say real off the hop, you look especially chipper lately, and just wanted to point that out. You look like you're glowing, so I just wanted to hear how your week's been and what's going on with you.
Nope, nothing that I can think about. Nothing's been going on in the world, and yeah. We're not going to touch on any of the bullshit. We're just going to keep it hockey today. And, yeah, but life, aside from all the bullshit in the world, is hectic and crazy and chaotic. These kids, they're beating the hell out of me. Because like in the last episode, I said that I'm now a nanny. And
hear it when I call you.
Yeah, he'll call me, and it'll literally be me getting pummeled for, like, the entire time. And I'll call you right back, so... Yeah, that's going on. It's been a pretty boring week. The Rangers have played a couple times, but I haven't really feel like I've been watching hockey, like just because they haven't been playing sporadically. So it's been boring for me in the hockey world. But what's been going on with you, man?
A lot working. Had a long day and went home, and was with the plan on taking a little bit of a nap. And as soon as I laid my head to the pillow, the Igor news broke. So that nap didn't happen. Woke up and kind of was listening to Weeksy and Statboy Steven on X talking about that. Aside from that, just getting it in, living life. Definitely wanted to thank Ben the Knee for joining us last time. Rob and Tim, that was awesome.
That was super cool.
A lot of fun. Definitely check that episode out. It was probably my favorite episode we've done, just from like a enjoyment standpoint. I really enjoyed hearing from those guys, and just been watching some hockey. The Rangers had 4 days off. We're recording Thursday the 7th.
And the game is on right now. That's why I've been staring that way the whole time.
Yeah, you'll notice we're both kind of screen watching today.
So forgive us for if we seem distracted or distant, but the love of our lives are on TV right now. So
that's true.
And we're getting beat 1-0 in the first period by the Sabres. So
well, we can get into it. So my first note today was on the Laffy contract, and we'll still touch on that, but obviously the big news that broke literally hours before I got over here a couple hours ago is the Igor contract. There's been a lot of speculation. So first we'll touch on Laffy, and we'll get that out of the way, then we'll talk Igor. Laffy, since we last joined you guys, signed a 7-year, $7.76 million average annual value deal over 7 years. Right, lots of sevens there.
He's a company man.
Hey, it's a good deal on both sides. It's one of those where he probably could have fought for maybe a little more. The Rangers maybe could have tried to shortchange him. It's a good deal for both. I think that deal is going to age really well. Because I was thinking about it today. That deal at that, with the cap going up and everything else, and his age, that's another thing about it.
He's young.
When the deal's over, he's 30. I mean, that deal is only going to get better and better and better. That contract. So. Real stoked on that. That happened last time right before we recorded, and with Rob and Tim in the studio. We didn't get really much of a chance to cover that. But what's your thoughts? I know you're a big Laff fan.
Oh, yeah. I love the deal. The more I watch, the longer time goes on, the seconds pass by, I just become more and more of a Laff fan. Actually, from last Valentine's Day, I remember the New York Rangers dropped all these pictures where it was like certain players and they had like these lovey-dovey sayings. So anytime Lafreniere does something good, his card says, "You always make me laugh," with a picture of him. So I send it to everybody in the group chat. I'm a huge fan of the deal. And I can't help but to clump his deal in with Igor's deal because Igor is asking for a lot. Laff took a pay cut to stay with the team and try to win. And in my eyes, it makes Lafreniere the hero, and it kind of makes Igor the villain. But even though he's asking for a bunch of money, it's hard to argue that he's not going to be worth it because these last few games we've played, it almost seems like Igor is the only one who showed up. It was like Igor and maybe one other player in each of the game, and that one other player hasn't been consistently the same player. So it's hard to argue that he's not the catalyst for the wins that we're getting. And that's really kind of what I got. But Laff deal, love it. Igor deal, it's gonna have to take some. It's gonna have to grow on me. He's gonna have to not have a 2-month slump.
You know, comparing the Igor thing and the Lafreniere thing, and I know you're not a big football fan, but it almost makes me think of, you know, a better comparison might be goalie to quarterback, but I'm going to go goalie to running back here. And the reason I'm doing that is running backs over the last maybe 5-10 years, in terms of fantasy value and actual contracts, have taken a dip. You know, years ago it was you had to have a big running game. Now there's teams that think you can get by with a committee, think you can get by with a good, you know, couple backs instead of one bell cow. And that's kind of similar to what's going on in hockey. You're seeing some teams you think you can get by with 2 suspect or okay goalies or just an average goalie and build around it. You know, the Rangers are in a fortunate situation where they have the best goalie on the earth right now. Or arguably. You can maybe make a case for some of the other guys, but he's been consistently the guy. And to compare the deals, you know, Lafreniere, there's more wingers out there than goalies. He's a little more expendable, but at the same time, he's looking at the future. You know, we're talking possible future captain, you know, guy that's going to be around for a long time. And the only risk on the deal, honestly, is if Laff falls off a cliff and his game just takes a dump. And I guess that could happen to any player, but all signs are leading up.
Wait, didn't that just happen to one of the Rangers?
Not completely, but
kind of.
I mean, Laff, scored the first goal of the season, and you had the feeling, here we go again. I think he scored the first one last year, and it was I'm sorry, Sam Carrick. No disrespect to Sam Carrick. Laff scored in the first game.
But that was a given. Everyone predicted that was going to happen. Yeah, we knew Sam Carrick would end up lighting it up.
Yeah, big time off-season edition. Sam Carrick was going to score the first one, but it's a great deal, and we could talk a little more Igor. So what's going on with Igor right now? We're seeing Keven Weeke tweeted out or X'd out. I don't know how you say that shit anymore. But he tweeted out a picture of the New York skyline with 11.5 million and some eyeballs. And we're all taking that as Igor has maybe signed the deal at 11.5. I mean, this news is breaking as we're doing this. So all we know is that number. We don't know term. We don't know length, you know, any of that kind of stuff. But I'm happy to hear it. That was kind of the number I didn't want to start being a runaway train at 12-13 million. I mean, where does it stop? 11 million, I can live with that. The cap's going up. You know, he'll be our guy for this foreseeable future. And people make the Henrik Lundqvist comparisons, but the main difference to me is Henrik Lundqvist era, you know, Zuccarello was like a top scorer one year with like 25 goals. I mean, we're in a different place, man. We got some 50 goal scorers. This is a better team than that team. No disrespect to that era. But yeah, I'm just excited, man.
Yeah, about the Igor contract, you know, it might seem, I might not be a huge fan of it right now, but this contract, if he signs it, it could really be the catalyst for this management to start really, you know, offloading some of these bad contracts. I mean, like the Trouba contract, like I love Trouba, I'm a big Trouba fan, but 8 million steep for what he, you know, brings to the table. But that leads me to a question. I want to know what your thoughts are on how Lindy's been doing since he signed the contract and since he's been back from injury. What was it, 4.5?
Yeah, 4.5 for just the year.
So let's do a progress report on that. What do you think about his play?
About as expected. He's looked a little rusty coming back from that injury. You know, he didn't get a lot of much of a training camp, much of a preseason. So that's to be expected. But he's looked okay. You know, I like Lindgren. You know, he's a warrior. He's a grit grinder. I've never been enamored by his game. I never really saw him as a first-line defenseman, but I think he's been good.
I've been a little iffy about it. He just doesn't have, like, he's a Badger. Yes, he's a tough player. He's tough as nails. But there's just too many times when he's chasing the guy and just cannot take him off the puck. And I noticed that he's chasing the guy behind the net. The dude's going back and forth, and Lindy's just trying to get the puck from him or knock him off the puck, and he's just unable to do that. So I mean, you can be the heart and the soul of the team, but you gotta be able to clear the puck out of the zone too.
You know, with Lindgren, he wishes he was the size of Chris Pronger, or like one of these monster dudes from, but he's not. And you see it, he goes into the corner and he doesn't always win the battle. He ends up getting blown up a lot of times. And he's gotten a little better. He hasn't been getting blown up as much. But it's just, I think that's why some Ranger fans are maybe going a little sour on him. It's not that we don't appreciate what he's done, but it's also, just he's become pretty replaceable, especially with the injuries. And I feel bad saying that because I like the guy a lot and can see a world where he sticks around, but at the same time, I think this is it.
And that leads me to my next question. What is Laviolette thinking putting Lindy in when he's in a bubble and has 2 pillows on each side of his face? Like, he does not look like he's going to be able to be 100% out there just based off the way he looks. Like,
I don't think
he's basically playing hockey with a neck brace. Like,
and I'm not
crazy.
I'm not just defending President Nixon here, but I do think that is more of a hockey thing than a Laviolette thing. These guys are warriors, and it's hard to keep them out of the lineup. And as soon as they get cleared by the doctor,
in it.
I don't know other teams that aren't the same way. So I don't think it's a Lavy thing. And I listen to other podcasts sometimes of other teams. And you hear them bitch about the same thing. How can you put this guy in? He's compromised. Lindgren, he's a Badger.
He just looks like he has to use a wheelchair to get to the game, and then he skates and plays, and then he just gets back in his wheelchair to go back to the bus at the end.
Yeah, back into his little burrow.
Yeah. They got the little electric lift for him and stuff.
Yeah, right back into the ice bath.
But being how Mancini has looked pretty good, in my opinion. I mean, he hasn't been perfect, but he's been pretty good. Why not just let Mancini get a little more ice time while Lindy's actually healing a little bit more to where he doesn't have 3 pounds of gauze in his helmet?
I do agree with that. You have right now a competition, and actually we can get into this, between Jones and Mancini, seemingly. And when there's injuries or there's guys that aren't playing 100%, there shouldn't be that competition. Both those guys should be in, and the guy who's hurt should take a seat. But we're up against hockey culture and tough guy what is the word? Machismo? I fucked that up. But macho bullshit. And these guys aren't going to want to sit out of the lineup, man.
Mm-hmm.
But real quick, we will touch on Jones versus Mancini. And actually, I shouldn't even phrase it as that, because I don't think it's so much them two against each other. I think it's going to be usage based. I think you're going to see, like, with heavier lineups, bigger teams we're playing against, you're going to see Mancini. I think teams with a little more skill, where we maybe need the goals, you're going to see Jones. I think they'll get a pretty good split as the season goes.
Mm-hmm.
I think you saw Mancini get a little bit more of a run because it's very early in the season. He's the unknown. You kind of want to see what you got. But that's kind of what I predict, see it shaking out. And ultimately, if one of them really does rise to the top, they'll get the spot. But I think it'll be a lot of in and out between the two of them.
Yeah, it's kind of like the honeymoon phase, and just getting a little glimpse of him and what I think he's going to develop to be. I could see myself spending the rest of my life with him. So,
well, it's and I'm sure other fan bases are like this too. Bloop, 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 bloop.
Yeah, well,
dream sequence,
batting eyes.
But Ranger fans are funny, because you got, the Ranger fans that want the team to get bigger and tougher, and we got to put Mancini in there because he's a big boy.
Rempe.
And the same people are like, when we lose, they're like, we need a puck moving defenseman, someone like Adam Fox. So, and they're gonna start beating the Jones drum. So I like both them. Maybe a slight Richmond bias for Jones. Knowing some people who kind of halfway know him, and just that he's from our hometown. But that doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. I want the Rangers to win, and there's a lot to like about Mancini. So,
well, I said it before, and I'll say it again. Jones, in my eyes, is like a watered-down Adam Fox. He's a puck mover. He drives the plays, and pretty much every time he goes for that long stretch pass, it's a tape-to-tape pass. He has no issue getting the puck out of the zone, at least from what I've seen. If he's in possession and has a little bit of time and space, he's going to get it out, and he's going to get it to the man driving the play. So I like that about Jones. And Mancini, he's just young. He's got a lot to learn. But I also like his play as well. You're onto something it'll probably be a split. They got different tools in the toolbox. If they don't need a tool, they can put it away. If they need that tool, they can pull it back out.
Yeah, if they need a hammer, They'll call Mancini if
Yep.
they need the precision drill.
Yep.
They'll get Jonesy. That's what it's going to come down to, and I think it'll be a pretty even share. So, that actually kind of moves us into the line changes. There's been some recent lineup changes, and we're seeing. Is
that who's out there right now?
Yeah, we're seeing those same lines tonight, I believe.
Well, they're not winning, so I hate them.
And for those of you who maybe don't know, we'll break it down real quick. So the lines have been changed to, and I'll go left to right here. Panarin, Mika, Lafreniere on the first line. Cooley, Trocheck, and Smitty. Not Brendan, that's his brother. Riley Smith. Second line. Third line is Kreider, Hedel, and Kakko. And the fourth line has been Enstrom, Carrick, and VC, with the scratches being big number 73 and Johnny Brodzinski, kind of coming in and out of the lineup. And actually, I got something I want to say about 73 too, because you can't have a Rangers pod without talking about Rempe. But what do you think about these lines? We'll get back to Rempe.
I'm indifferent. I don't like that they broke up the third line. That line was working. It was a force. It was
power play
the best line
0.2.
for us consistently on a game-to-game basis. What happened? Oh, yeah, we get a power play now?
With 0.2 left in the period.
Oh, wonderful. But, yeah, I just don't like how they broke up the third line. They were at work. You had Kakko, you had Hedel, you had Cooley, and it was working. It was almost how we all felt about the second line last year, when it was just, don't touch that line. Don't touch it. They're killing it. They're doing great. Don't touch it. That's how I feel about the third line this year. I a little bit indifferent about the first and second lines. The fourth line stayed the same, didn't it?
Yeah, fourth line didn't change.
But first and second, I don't, it doesn't hurt to try something new, but I just don't like that they put Kreider down on the third when that line was working. Like, mix it up some other type of way and see how it goes. But
we've seen Kreider on the third in stints, not so much that I can remember in the Laviolette era, but definitely in the Gallant era. And I'm okay with the lineup changes. I kind of like the lines the way they were. I think you give it time to cook. But I also see the argument, it's early in the season. Not to be cocky, but you have a team that's basically going to make the playoffs unless they just completely fall off a cliff. And, it's early enough to experiment. So I'm okay with it for now. If it doesn't work, you go back. Who knows? Maybe you wake something up. I think the fan base was clamoring to break the Lovebirds up. And they can still connect. They connected the other night on the
every power play they'll connect.
Power play and the power kill or
penalty kill. Yep.
Well, it's a power kill for them.
Power kill.
Power kill. That sounds like a thrash band.
Power
or some
drill.
shit.
Power kill.
But by the way, Hot Stuff, we see you. Thanks for tuning in. Anyone else on Instagram, thanks for checking us out tonight as we do this.
Thank you for the 2 people who tuned in for 32 seconds.
What's that? Hot Stuff logged in twice, 2 different accounts. We appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Cooley still looks good tonight.
Yeah, he's looked really good. He's buzzing.
We better end this thing quick because I haven't even noticed Cooley because I haven't been able to watch. So we gotta hurry this thing up.
First period just ended, so I think we can go on with our pod and just watch the rest of this game after.
Some time.
But I don't have much else to say about the lines. One thing I will say about Big Rempe is I'd like to see him in the lineup. I'd also wouldn't mind him getting some seasoning in the AHL, but I don't agree with just bringing him up to fight.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. The Washington game, I was a little excited. I'm feeling a little tingle.
McElrath beat his ass,
and not only that, but it's. I'm a big hockey fan. I love fighting in the game, but I'm more excited to see 2 dudes just go at it when it's
authentic.
In the middle of the play.
Yeah, heat of the moment.
Went down. Not the first shift of the, just the first 2 times.
It's like a prearranged marriage,
and it takes the hype right out of it, and it made it to where like instead of let's see how the game goes, and then if the fight changes the complexion, Rempe, I don't want to say he got his ass kicked, but he definitely didn't win the fight.
He got pretty You
and
got
Ovi
the
scores
worst end of it.
Ovi scores what within a minute?
2 goals.
So it didn't do anything, and I just think, to treat him like Frankenstein's fucking monster, where you just bring him in when there's problems, and that's probably a bad analogy, but it's just you treat him you treat him like any kind of way, and just instead of letting him season in the AHL or letting him figure it out in the NHL, I just didn't agree with that against the Caps, and it bores me when a fight happens like that, when it has no context with the game. It's just, we're two fighters, we're gonna get it over with early. Like I said,
it's a prearranged marriage. They had talked about it, and then they went through with it, and it's just.
Well, and I love, and I'm gonna talk some shit about the Caps real quick, because, and I'm not gonna say the Caps are a dirty team, but let's be honest. Tom Wilson, Ovi, Oshie, frankly, they got guys that are not below or above, I should say, a dirty hit, a dirty play. And the whole pregame, you heard, oh, they got to pay back Rempe for hurting Oshie. Oshie's half dead. And I love Oshie, but, he's hurt anyways. And then they're like, so I just didn't, they were like, oh, they got to avenge Rempe for hurting our guys. It's like, get the fuck out of here, man. I just didn't like that. You got Wilson. I know it's old news at this point, but Wilson's pummeling Panarin. You ever notice how well behaved Wilson was the whole fucking time Revo was with the Rangers? Not one.
Bringing him a dish of water.
And I'll just go out and say it. I don't care who's listening. Wilson, you're a good player, but you are a bitch. Every time he starts some shit with the Rangers, it's against our power play line. It's against the bread, And then he puts his tail between his legs when the big guys are coming. And the only exception to that was in the playoffs. And it's like, no, we're not going to fight you in game 3 or game 4 when we're about to put you away. Sorry. So just didn't like that from the Caps broadcast, and just the complete bias of being unaware that you're pretty dirty squad and acting like Rempe's the worst thing you ever seen. It's like, come on.
If anything, the Devils should feel that type of way, not the Capitals, but
the Devils are just tired of getting shit pumped by the Rangers physically.
Yeah,
it happened, in 2012 with Rupper and Stu Bickle, and it happened again in 2023 or 2024. What year? That was last season. Yeah, we just always beat their asses in the fight. Maybe not the game, but in the fight.
Yeah.
All right, part 2, had to reset the camera. You have anything else to say about the lineups?
Not about that, but I want to talk about Mika.
Let's talk about Mika, and I had a quick question for you.
Yeah.
What do you have when you get Mika without the K?
Mia?
M-I-A.
Oh.
Missing in action.
I'm burnt out.
Look, we're both big Mika fans. I'm not going to sit here and take a shit all over him, but I just made a couple points on what I'm seeing. And, the probably the saving grace here is that he's getting points, he's contributing. He's still playing his solid defensive game, but it's just not enough, man. I'm kind of tired of getting, watching him be dog walked by other teams' first centers, first lines. And you just want more compete level. What I'm seeing, I made a point here, lack of grit. And that's kind of been an issue with Mika. And he's never been he's not the type to go in and face wash someone and stick check them. But he used to be a lot more gritty. I'm seeing just no grit. He pulls up off of plays, pass first, constantly. I mean, that Kreider goal was sweet. That little tap in the other night. But, I'm looking at a guy who's passing every time instead of ripping it. And then when he does shoot, lack of accuracy. He's hitting the popcorn guy in the stands with his one-timer, and you watch Ovi, what he's done. You watch Panarin. Panarin even got that one-timer earlier in the season, right from that same spot.
Panarin's hitting the Mika shot.
Because he put it on net. And you just want more from Mika, so that's kind of where I'm at with it.
It's tough. It's tough watching him. We all got spoiled seeing him score 5 goals on the Capitals in one game and just having these monster 30-40 goal seasons, and now it's just like he's declining, and he's not even old. He's 30 years old, maybe 31.
Yeah.
He's not an old player, but he's acting like he's on the latter half of his career or on the latter end of his career. It's hard to watch.
You know what scares the shit out of me?
What?
I know last week was Halloween, but is, when Mika came over, the trade was Mika for Brassard, and I think a pick. And it was kind of like an even, Brassard was a little older, Mika was younger. going in different directions in their career. And Mika came over, and it's like, didn't really expect what he became. And that's a good and a bad thing because it leads to expectations. So he became our number one center, and he was that for several years, and now he's kind of fallen off from that. And you're just not seeing him as much. Like, I know he complained a little bit about his ice time being cut, but that's continued. Like, each time I look up at the screen, I feel like I'm seeing the third and fourth lines, and it's because they're buzzing.
Yeah. It's you just want more. You just want more from him.
Yeah.
I think we just saw something where he was ranked like not even in the top 100 for players, and for a 1C on a Stanley Cup competing team, you gotta have somebody who's just producing and noticeable. Like, he is producing a little bit. He's getting close to a point per game, but you don't even notice him out there. It's like every time he's out there, he's hard to even see. The only reason you know it's him is because his hair's flapping.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the word I keep hearing tossed around is lost. He looks very lost right now. You know, like I said, I'll drive the point home again. He is not playing like shit. That is not my point here. But we need him to play better than not like shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we've seen in the playoffs, you know, he's streaky during the regular season, and a lot of, you know, the second tier scorers are, you know, not everyone's McDavid, not everyone's, you know, McKinnon, but, you know, in the playoffs, you know, we need him to be our guy. And I mean, we've, you know, Sasha Barkov is a not Calder. What's the offensive award? I'm sitting here having a brain fart.
What?
The award for best defensive offenseman. I'm having a complete brain fart right now. But he's won that, the Selke.
Yep.
He's won the Selke. He's a big body. You know, that's kind of a tough matchup for Mika. But a guy like Hischier, you know, a couple years ago, Hischier walked Mika in that first line in that series. And he's not a big guy. Mika's probably bigger. You know, it's just that grit and that determination, and we're not seeing it from Mika, and it's been a couple years now, but it's really starting to stink now.
Just the lack of confidence. He just doesn't play with confidence right now. That's like apparent as it can be. He needs to have a monster game so he can start a streak. And I just keep on waiting for it to happen. I'm like, maybe this next one will be the one. Maybe this next one will be the one. And it's just not. And you start to lose hope, and you're like, what's it gonna take? Like, what is it gonna take for him to be the old Mika that we all know and love?
Yeah.
So,
when I guess, yeah, and I may have gotten away from what scares me, but yeah, my point what I was making is if he goes back to that, where he's just kind of what we got, not what he became, which was a middling player, decent piece, but not a first line center. And the way we're paying him, and that's the thing too, it's
the contract.
The contract is forever. I mean, it's till 2030 or 31.
Yeah, we got him for the rest of this decade.
You know, we're gonna. I don't know. I don't even know what the world's gonna look like by then. But Mika will still be our center. You know, that's scary to think about. So
yeah, he will remain, and he's got the most insane no move clauses. He buttoned it up good. He loves New York City, and he's not going nowhere. So he needs to either figure it out, or the coaches need to figure it out. And that's all I'm gonna say. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I don't have anything else on it. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Well, let's move on to, so there's been a couple games, and these at this point, because of the 4-day break, are kind of older. But do you have anything to say about the Ottawa game or the Islanders game? I didn't watch the Ottawa game much. I did here and there. I was kind of watching on my phone, but I don't have a lot of takeaways from that. It was nice to get the dub, but
yeah, I can tell you right now, I'm not in a position to tell you the play-by-play how I remember everything going. I know that the third line was our best line in both those games, and I know that Igor Shesterkin is the reason we won both those games. We got outplayed, we got outshot. I think Igor had 40-plus saves in both of those games. I just don't think we deserved to win, but we had a goalie who refused to lose, and it kept us in there, and we need to fix that problem. We need to be able to generate more. We need to be able to show these other teams that we are the ones not to mess with, and that's just not happening. Maybe it's a slump. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what's going on, but it concerns me.
I'm not seeing compete level from the Rangers that it needs to be there, and I don't know if it's coming from a place of arrogance, like, oh, we're just going to make the playoffs, we'll figure it out then. But that's the problem. You need to figure it out during if you're in a position where you're a really good team and you're, 99.9% sure you're going to make the playoffs, you need to figure the little things out during the regular season. So when you get to the dance, you're ready and you don't get walked by a team like the Panthers who are relentless. I'm not seeing any forecheck. I have not watched every single
Aside
game,
from
every
the
single
third
period.
line.
But, like close your eyes and envision. When was the last time you saw the Rangers cycling down low? Especially the Mika line. When it was Mika, Kreider.
You mean our third line?
I mean,
the Mika line.
They almost never cycle the puck anymore. It's kind of gotten to like where like watching them has become like table tennis, where it's either in their zone or they bounce it out. And there's been too much play in their zone. Even tonight against the Sabres, every time I look up, it's the Sabres in our zone cycling the puck. So they need to figure it out. I'm sure they will. I mean, the season's young. I'm not hitting the panic button yet, but I'm a little frustrated, man. And then when they play the good teams, they lose bad. Neither loss was like a complete ass kicking on the scoreboard, but by the eye test and with the average goalie, ass kickings.
Yeah, for sure. And that leads me to the point that the no cycle is just such a boring style of hockey. Like, you can either be a rush fan, you can love the rushes, or you can love the cycles. I mean, I like them both, but I'm always on my toes when you see a team cycling in the zone, wearing the other team out. They're tired. They can't change. You have a 10 times better shot of being able to make something happen when the other team is exhausted as to when you're just doing a 3-on-2 rush. So they need to figure out the cycle, and they need to do it quickly.
I feel like the scouting report right now on the Rangers has to be, guys, we need to go out there and play intense. These guys are low intensity. That's what I'm seeing from the Rangers right now. Low intensity and just kind of lack of that work ethic. And I think, you got a guy like Mika who's maybe squeezing the stick a little tight, maybe struggling right now. You can't, skill, maybe fluctuates and, comes and goes, but you can't be in a slump with ethic.
Hey, you see you just tuned in?
Who's that?
Hey, baby.
Uh-oh, she's watching you.
Yeah. Don't say anything crazy. Don't do anything stupid like get yourself killed.
Don't do anything stupid. We better wrap up right now.
I gotta go.
But I don't know, man. I hope they can figure it out. They looked a little better against the Islanders, but then again, the Islanders, are dinged up, man. As Sam and Joe told you over and over and over and over and over and over again. The Islanders have a lot of injuries, and we didn't see a lot of their good players, and they still hung in there with us. So you want more. That's been a theme of tonight. And all this said, that the boys have looked overall pretty good. The record's pretty good. So we're not jumping overboard yet, but you definitely want more.
Doesn't it frustrate you that it feels like we're already 11 games? This is what, game 12? And it only feels like we played like 5 games.
Yeah.
Like, this season does not feel like we are making way as fast as we are. You see teams like the Devils, they're playing their 16th game today or something like that. And we're playing our 12th. I feel like they're on the TV every single night, and I really don't care to watch them. But they need to... Well, actually, coming up, we have 2 4-game weeks back to back.
Yeah, so the next... and I actually have them written down. The next 4 games tonight, Thursday against Buffalo at home. Saturday on the 19th. Oh, I'm sorry, on the 9th, they're gonna travel to Detroit. Mm-hmm. Seems like we've played Detroit 5 times this season, but it's only the 3rd time.
What's up, Lauren?
Yeah, shout out Detroit fans. We got some love for you. Tuesday the 12th against Winnipeg. This is a big test game. Winnipeg's first in the league right now. Always has a really good season, seems to fizzle out in the playoffs.
You feel confident?
I
it's
feel
hard to.
I actually feel stupidly confident. Yes. I think that'll be the first Rangers, other than beating the Maple Leafs, that'll be the first, quality win against a quality opponent of the season.
And I remember complaining last year about how it seems like the Rangers play down to their competition. When it's a high stake, high level game, the Rangers seem to play so much better. And when they're playing a team that's probably not going to make the playoffs, it's almost like they take their foot off the gas, which drives you crazy because you want them to just stomp these teams into oblivion, but they don't. and that makes you nervous when they do play some of the top teams in the league. But somehow they seem to play so much better, and I mean, it's hard to complain about that. But you want them to win all the games, not just the good ones, not just the bad ones. You want them to win, and even if they're not winning all the games, you want them to play at their level in all the games, regardless if it's a win-lose. Because hockey, a couple odd bounces and you end up losing the game, even if you dominated the entire game. So
they're not going to win every game, but we can look at the games they've lost this season, and especially the glaring ones are Florida and Washington. And even if they still lost those games, you feel better about it if they were different games. But Washington jumped on us. Both teams really jumped on us right away.
We're about to start
and we never recovered.
With what is it? 1 minute and 52 seconds of power play.
Now look at that. Oh, that's the power play. Yep, I was gonna say that's the first line now, but yeah, that is power play.
Do something, Mika. Do something.
Yeah.
So
and then wrap up the week. A week from today on the 14th, the Barclay Goodrow.
The Barclay Gretzky
coming back to MSG, Barclay and the Sharks.
I'm happy for him. They named him captain, didn't they?
Did they?
Didn't the Sharks? Did they? Wait.
I don't know.
What do I feel like somebody said Goodrow's captain?
I think he's an A. I don't think he's a captain, but I don't know.
Well, I hope he does good out there. I like Goodrow.
Yeah. I'm
just not against the Rangers, and I hope Ovi gets the record, just not against the Rangers. How are you guys going to give him 2 goals closer to his record? Just in one game against us. It's infuriating. But I do hope he gets it. I don't really know. Yeah.
You just want sharper play. The boys haven't looked terrible, but you just want more. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Cool.
Well, I don't know if I had much else. I'm having fun, but I think we're just gonna hang out and watch the game now. Do you have any other updates? I'm trying to think of anything else that's going on in Ranger World before we cut this.
No, I'm missing it, man.
I'm
missing the action.
We're missing the game for you guys. Thank you for tuning in
welcome.
On Instagram. We appreciate it. Tell a friend. And something I did want to say, any bands out there that want to get in touch, please do. I'm going to be reaching out to some. I already have some artists and bands in my crosshairs that I'd like to either set up an interview or a feature. But yeah, reach out to us. That's definitely a part of the show. We want to grow that part of the show as well. This is a very hockey-centric episode. No music guest or anything tonight. But just wanted to put that out there. Reach out to us, send us a message on Instagram, and your questions. We've been asking for questions. Want to make that a part of the show too. Reaching out to you guys and answering your questions and thoughts and opinions. That's kind of how I've gotten engaged with some of the shows I like. So just want that.
Yep. So I don't have anything else. I'm just gonna say quickly: like, subscribe, follow, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Facebook now. We're on everything. Spotify, if that's your thing. Go ahead and help us out with the algorithm. And other than that, I don't got nothing else. Do you?
Nope, that's it.
Forever hold your peace.
Till next time.
All right, take care, guys.